There is a riddle that I want us to unpack. Have you ever wondered why, despite of the government-to-government deal on oil exportation, the prices of oil has remained high? And of course, according to my sneak peek at the finance bill, the VAT has remained at 16%. But far from it, I want us to look at the latest setback, because Dubai seems to be saying, Tawi, President Ruto, we are not going to allow the deal go through. Welcome to the Bold Analysis. We celebrate 50,000 subscribers. I want to say thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for standing with this brand. We celebrate 1.5 years of content in political analysis and impacting the society. The government-to-government deal was touted as a brainchild of EPRA, David Ndi, EPRA, head of EPRA, David Ndi, and some other, and I think Waziri Chirchir, as a cutting-edge intervention that will ease the demand for dollar, because 32% of our dollar demand goes to import of oil. So it was going to reduce the demand for dollar, and that was going to have a ripple effect on reducing the cost of fuel in the long run. But question still wonders, and the MPs summoned EPRA and Waziri Chirchir to explain why, despite of the fact that government and William Ruto really came out bragging about this deal, Kenyans cannot see the value for it. And they were tight-tongued. They cannot explain, they're shattered and defeated. But that's what we are going to look at in this podcast. And maybe those who are hearing about this G2G, government-to-government deal for the first time, I know there are subscribers who are not there when we did that analysis. So I just want to take you a sneak peek of what the details of that deal. Under government-to-government deal, our government, the government of Kenya, entered into a deal with some 3 oil companies, national oil companies in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, to export to us oil here in the country. And in the country here, we also picked 3 companies, and that was direct procurement, closed procurement. We picked 3 companies to import oil from the 3 Dubai companies in credit for 6 months. So for the next 6 months, we are going to receive oil consignment, both petrol and diesel consignment in the country in credit. Then the other 96 oil marketing companies in the country will be able to buy oil, the same oil, after imefika hapa, inaletwa na 3 companies. Then the other 96 oil marketing companies were to buy the oil from the 3 in Kenyan shillings. So the reasoning behind it was that because we are not paying for this oil, this means that we have reduced the demand for dollar, because the dollar is the currency. There is normally high demand for dollar to import oil and other products. So be it food, oil, and the other stuff. Dollar is the international trading currency. So when we reduce the demand for dollar, we're going to help control the prices. That was the rationale. But now this is what has happened. 2 oil marketing companies in Dubai have declined the deal, and they are saying that they are cagey, that it has an effect of reducing, or rather it has an effect of affecting their businesses, and they're saying they're not going to accept that to continue. Now, while Chirchir was appearing in a parliamentary committee, he confessed the prices are yet to go down because the uptake of the program has not been so much responsive. Despite the fact that they signed and it started the April, now we are getting to the second month, the end of May was second month, they are yet to see the fruits of government to government deal because the companies in Dubai have declined the deal. They are cagey. But I think this country, we need to have a sense of responsibility. Because if indeed someone might have duped the president into this deal, and the president came out in public to tell Kenyans about how this was going to be the Messiah from heaven, then people need to take responsibility. Really, if that is not it, people need to take responsibility. But when will we end the posturing? Because we cannot posture as if we want to reduce the prices of the oil products while we are increasing VAT from 8% to 16%. I've just seen the revised budget. I'm telling you. I don't want to get deep into that because that's going to be my next analysis. But then you will agree with me that people are not just taking responsibility. Was President duped or what went wrong? Because the Dubai companies are saying we are not taking it. But I want to tell you the devil that is here. There are some 3 reasons why we are getting into this mess. And that's what I want to look at. Number 1, I think this deal was rushed without due diligence because someone knew that there were some individual benefits. That's it. This deal was rushed. And when we thought, I analyzed it. When I analyzed it, we are taking oil on credit. But we are saying we want to reduce the debts, but we're still taking oil on credit. We are not paying now, and let's get it right. We'll pay the Dubai company in dollar. We'll not pay them in Kenyan shillings. We'll pay them in dollars after 6 months. So, after these 6 months, when we'll be paying the debt, that means we have just pushed ahead the demand for the dollar. We are saying, because we want to ease the demand for the dollar now, let you give us all in credit. But after 6 months when we pay you, we'll pay dollar in lump sum. So even experts were arguing that there was the wisdom behind it there was no due diligence, because at the end of it, after 6 months, we'll have a mad demand for the dollar to pay. We are not going to pay in Kenyan shillings. So in this one, if this deal cannot help us control the cost of petrol and the fuel, then honestly speaking, we rushed without due diligence. Secondly, the supply has been reduced. And maybe this is what you are not being told. The truth of the matter here is 28% of our supply of our imports is normally the fuel. And if you're buying on credit, I'm very sure that the intention was we would benefit from economy of scale, where we get lump sum, we get large amounts in quite a good quantity, and with that we can have our way. But because we are borrowing fuel, it's a debt, by the way. Because we are taking fuel on credit, I tend to believe that the amount that maybe the amount of consignment we are receiving has been shrinked or is low. And because of that level, there could be some level of rationing. And that rationing is what has affected the market. So, I don't know. This is what happened. I think because I have the article here, I want just to break it down to you. National Assembly. Now, RUTO selected 3 foreign companies to supply fuel to Kenya. This including Amoco, Abu Dhabi National Oil Corporation, that is ADNOC, then the National Oil, NOC, and those are amongst the companies. But here in the country, there were some 3 companies that were also picked. And I remember the 3 companies that were picked, even 96 oil marketing companies had a litigation in court, and they sued the government that this tender was supposed to be an open tender. but it was closed that only 3 companies were going to import it, then the others were going to buy from them. So you look at even that framework to some extent, and by the way, part of the deal was there's no any other marketer who was to be allowed to import oil in this country away from that deal. Part of that deal is the other oil marketing companies in the country, even if you can get a cheaper oil in another country, even in Africa, you are not allowed to import oil in the country apart from that G2G. So you look at the way it was clogged. To some extent, what we saw as a strategy that was going to help us has not yielded fruit because we cannot get a good amount. Lastly, the Dubai companies are becoming cagey with the deal because of our inconsistent monetary fiscal policy. Look at how we are behaving with the budget. You look at our debt bill. Even if you're supposed to give us some debts, you're going to wonder, are we going to pay that debt? So that will be my take on what we are getting wrong. And I wish we take responsibility. We should not lie to the country that we're going to control the prices, but in real sense, we cannot show for it because that's what Kenyans were. So we need to get it right. On this one, we should not walk into such mistakes again. It is just a failure of defining our problems and overzealous, overambitious by deals that in real sense cannot come into fruition. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my take. Thank you very much for watching and supporting us. I want to really see your feedback on what's happening in the country. I'm even wondering, because how are you going to control the prices if you've already increased the VAT from 8 to 16% now? Even the ambition to reduce the cost of fuel cannot come to fruition if our tax policy on the same is where it is. Just to say the truth, how are we going to control it? Even if there are local taxes here, even if we are supposed to benefit from the economies of scale from this deal, that cannot, the ripple effect on the cost cannot. Waiting for what EPRA going to explain in the month of June and July. That's my take, and let's meet in the next.